Karibu tena, asante sana kwa kuendelea kuwa nasi tukiwa tunazidi tu na mdahalo wetu wa leo kuhusiana na wafanyabiashara wadogo kutoka ukumbi wa chuo kikuu cha Daystar. Nataka sasa kumpatia nafasi Wanjau Gachagua aweze kuuliza swali lake kuhusiana na mswada uliotajwa hapo na mwakilishi wa Madhira.
Naitwa Wanjau Gachanja. Mimi ni mzaliwa wa Nyeri County na mimi ni mchuuzi huku Nairobi. Swali langu inaelekea kwa Mheshimiwa Rigathi Gachagua. Kuna hii bill ilikuwa iletwe na gavana wa Murang'a Mwangi wa Iria kuhusu hii mambo ya wachuuzi wandogo. Maana kuna hizi sheria ambazo county government inaamkaga leo inaweka very punitive sheria. Hiyo mswada ulienda vipi? Na kama ulikufia jiani hiyo sheria, mheshimiwa, unaweza tengeneza sheria nyingine uipeleke bungeni ili iweze kulinda hawa wachuuzi wadogo ili wasiwe wanaamka kama ni kuamka leo, ukiamka kesho biashara yako imebomolewa na watu either county government kula ama watu wengine, na yenye inaweza tengeneza hata kule kotini. Maana hata kotini zile hao county government wanapelekaga watu inakuaga tu haiko sawa kabisa. Asante.
Hebu sasa nimpatie nafasi Nyendo Maxwell aweze kuuliza swali ambalo linaelekezwa kwa mwakilishi wa KEBS.
Thank you so much. I am Nyendo Maxwell, an esteemed student leader at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. I have a question to the KEBS representative. Of late, there has been an influx. There's been an unprecedented influx of contraband goods in our markets. This one has caused unfair competitions with the legitimate traders we have within our borders. So my question is, which substantive measures have you put in place to protect our traders from cartels who are keen to perpetuate their black market business? Thank you.
Na pia alikuwa ameendelea kuuliza, awali nilipokuwa nikizungumza naye alikuwa anataja kuwa utajuaje kuwa ile stika ambayo iko katika mzigo fulani ni ya KEBS kweli na ile ambayo sio ya kweli. Kuna swali pia kuhusiana na ukaguzi ambao huwa unafanywa mara kwa mara kwa zile bidhaa ambazo zinaingia humu nchini. Simama tafadhali utuambie swali lako.
My question is, when items come in, we are told it has to go through KEBS for them to verify if they are of standard. Now, what happens most of the time once the items are taken through the process, some items are taken for inspection and they're never brought back to us. What happens?
Nadhani Trevor hayo anaweza kujibiwa kabla turejee tena huko.
Kabisa. So we'll start with the honorable, and I think you'll handle the issue of the bill to safeguard the small-scale traders that you raised, and then KEBS, you'll handle the issue of contraband goods and legitimate KEBS stickers, how to tell the difference, and yes, I think you'll handle the issue of how to protect them from unfair competition and cartels. Let's start with the honorable.
Well, thank you very much. I heard about the Governor Mwangi wa Iria suggestion, but the governor probably could only introduce something in Murang'a County through his assembly. But anything for the whole country, he would have to come through Parliament. Either he would have to move the government to bring it as a government bill.
And you have one such bill. Or
he would have to talk to somebody, a member of Parliament, because he cannot legislate. On my part, arising from what has happened to our people. If you look at the Daily Nation or the Standard, every day, there are 5 pages of advert of auctions. Every day. For the last like 1 year. In fact, the other day, a party was held for auctioneers by one newspaper to thank them for the volume of business that they have brought to the newspaper. And it is these traders who are being auctioned because they are not doing business. One of the reasons is that there is unfair competition by the foreigners. You find that some countries, for example China, because of the high population, they have a deliberate policy to assist their people to go and look for business outside. So what they are doing is that they are lending money to their people at 3%. So when they come here, they cannot compete with us. So what has happened is that when a tender is announced, it is put in the newspaper, and they compete. They quote very low because of the cost of money. So what I have done, I have introduced the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Amendment Bill 2018. And the purpose of this bill is first and foremost to secure business for Kenyans up to and including 1 billion shillings. And that will take like 55% of all business by government and quasi-government bodies into the hands of Kenyans. Secondly, we are suggesting in our bill that all procurement, all goods and services, all tenders of 1 billion and above, there should be a joint venture between the foreigners and our people, 70% for the foreigners and 30% for our people. The net effect of that is that business up to 1 billion is 55% of the entire business. So that would be the hands of Kenyans. Okay. Then 30% of the remaining 45% would be 15%. Added to the other 55, 70% of business would be the hands of Kenyans. Okay. And that would be able to take care of our small traders and our small contractors and people who are not as endowed financially and technically to compete with the foreigners.
But how do you ensure implementation? Because the issue has not been...
Now, what we have done in that bill is that we have defined what is a local farm. Currently, as it is, a local farm is that farm that is owned 51% by Kenyans and the rest by anybody else. People have taken advantage of that. What they would do is that a foreigner would come here, go to Zimmerman, marry a young girl. The young girl would have 51% and the foreigner the rest. But the company and everything, the account, the equipment belongs to the foreigner. So we are saying that local farm is that farm owned 100% by Kenyan. Number two, we've introduced very stiff penalties for Kenyans who are found to have been misused by a foreigner to register a farm to enable a foreigner circumvent Kenyans. And an equally very, very stiff penalty, very, very harsh, for foreigners who are found to have misused a Kenyan to register a company to defeat the purpose of this law. And if this law is enacted, and I have no doubt in my mind, we have gone through all the stages. It is now at the government printer for publication. Then it will come to the floor of the House for debate. And members of Parliament are very excited. They are very eager to pass this law. I have no doubt in my mind that it will sail through the House by a very, very serious majority. And once it is done, I have also no doubt in my mind that our president, who has also expressed his concern about these foreigners, will give it assent so that it can become law, and then we can be able to give all government business 70% to the local people. And that really will spur economic growth. There will be money circulation. Right now, why you hear Kenyans are saying there's no money? Most of the money is that all the big contracts have been given to the foreigners. They bring all the supplies, they bring all the workers, and then the profit, they repatriate back to their country. So that is why you find there's no money in circulation. So this bill tends to cure two things. One, make sure that 70% of all business is the hands of Kenyans. Two, to make sure that once the business is in the hands of Kenyans, there will be money in circulation among the Kenyans themselves.
All right, Muse, you were to talk about the issue of contraband goods and how to know a legitimate KEB sticker. Because that has always been a concern here. Very briefly.
Thank you, Maxwell, for your question. I think as KEBs in last year, we did realize, especially for the imported goods, that the law which we had was not strict enough because it was giving leeway for the inspection of goods outside there. So the law was amended, and we had a legal notice which we are calling Legal Notice 127, and this became effective last October. And this legal notice then requires all goods coming into the country, then they be inspected from the country of origin before they arrive here and have a certificate of conformity. We have exemptions, for example, for the raw materials. We have local manufacturers who bring in raw materials to use to manufacture products for consumption either for export or locally, in the local market. So we do exempt those manufacturers from the stringent requirements of the PVOC program, which is a pre-verification conformity. Yeah, and locally, we have the local manufacturers. Once they manufacture their goods, then we issue them with a standardization mark, a permit to use what we call a standardization mark. And we do, we've introduced an SMS. You send an SMS to 20023. When you have that standardization mark on your product, then there is a code, which is the permit number. Once you send that number, that code to that SMS, then it gives you the status of that product, whether that product has been certified by KEBS or not. And you are able to know whether this product is actually a certified product or not a certified product. So these are some of the measures which we have put in so that we can ensure that Kenyans consume safe and products which are good for their health.
Yes, there's a concern about unscrupulous traders and unfair competition and what the government is doing to edge it out. Aidan from Nairobi is very specific. He says, I'm a trader of rice. We are unable to do business in the country because of an influx of rice mailers from Pakistan who are also selling rice in the local market. Most of the local rice traders are now closing their business because of unfair competition from foreigners who also have mills in Pakistan and dumping their produce in the country. There is no sanity in the market. So he's saying, please ask PS, what plans do government have in place to protect local rice importers and traders against importers from Pakistan? Are you aware of what he's talking about?
Yes, I am. I guess and I think that's where we are going with the legislation and the frameworks we spoke about earlier. We had a history of of clear separation and truncation of business to ensure that there wasn't vertical integration of one player, like from source to retail, because that they can actually begin to subsidize different operations. A manufacturer can subsidize the wholesaler can subsidize the retailer. So what Adan is describing is that his probably says is that importers who may actually be distributing for their mills out of the country. So of course, even the pricing within that would be unfair. The frameworks that are available is something available within the Trade Remedies Law. Which is currently we're just trying to operationalize the Trade Remedies institution. So that will address it. But I think going forth, it's what I addressed earlier, that indeed the minister has powers to be able to give guidelines and segregate what types of businesses different players can play in. And that's what we are actually advising. That the minister does.
So as it stands, is there a lacuna in the law, or is it something that you're still waiting for the minister
I don't think it is. It isn't. We have space.
So it's the implementation.
You have space. I mean, that person, if he's here on a work permit, it must be a work permit to do something that is permitted, because the immigration is regulated. So there's probably a violation of their immigration status if they are actually doing trading of that nature. But if they are an investor, then we need to confirm that the level of investment meets the threshold, and that's something that can be confirmed. I'm just saying you can utilize the current law. The county government that is giving a permit should be able to confirm that this person is a legitimate investor. I think we've just relaxed on implementation of the law, which is something that we all need to wake up and address. Now, there was the issue on that Mheshimiwa has raised, and I actually want to just thank him for that. Some of the proposals he's making, and if you listened to CS Rotich last week, he's also addressing these concerns, and he actually announced that he would be gazetting the public procurement preferences regulations before the end of this month. And what he intends to do in that regulation is clearly specify the types, first of all, preference for different, Kenyan origin products. But within it, first things that government has done, it has already declared some goods will be 100% sourced from Kenyans. There will be no permission for, there'll be no importation of some of those goods. We've started with vehicles, but we're going to expand. When the CS gazettes the preference regulations, there will be a schedule of goods where there's abundant local supply that are ring-fenced in terms of public procurement to ensure that this is only bought from Kenya. The uniforms has been a good place to start. The police uniforms, all the material for that has come from Kenya. But there are other things, furniture, car parts and stuff that we would actually be able to set aside and say this must be made in Kenya as part of Buy Kenya, Build Kenya policy. And that will be done, as the minister said, before the end of this month. The third thing which he spoke to was on services, and especially contracting services. The proposal that he's making is a proposal that has been adopted, that in the context of public contracts, international consultants must come with secured agreements with local suppliers and local partners, and demonstrate that they have given significant business. It's not just bush clearing or supply of ballast.
In the pipeline, it's not been. It's not at.
No, it's actually part of the regulation. So I think even when the minister announces, he'll likely be announcing this threshold. So it's something that government has been seized on, and we've been discussing within the committees of PSS and also the committees of cabinet that meet, the committee of cabinet that meets on Tuesday morning. So I'm just saying there's convergence. What Mheshimiwa is saying, there's actually a lot of convergence with the discussions that are happening. Yes.
Okay, we have to take a quick break on the Monday report. The hashtag you're using is Monday report. I see a lot of your feedback coming through. Joel Gatama says the source of the problem is that most leaders don't even understand what small-scale traders are. Their description and understanding of small-scale traders is theoretical, which serves them and not the reality. Most don't even know the cost of the basic items. We'll read some of your views when we come back. We're taking a quick break. Also, we'll continue taking questions from the traders in the audience. Stay with Monday Report.